You know the vibes. Welcome back to another episode of the Hoop Genius podcast brought to you by NBA 2K23. I myself, Mo Mootsie, alongside me as always, the one, the only, Mr. BJ Armstrong. BJ, how you doing?
Real name, no gimmicks. You know the deal, Mo.
Welcome
back. Welcome back. You know, we lost you yesterday. You had to have a fill in for the intro, but you're back. That's good. I'm glad you're back. Welcome back.
Man, I appreciate you. We'll see if I'm still here tomorrow, but we'll get to that. We saw two games tonight, as we do here at the Hoop Genius podcast, catching you up on everything from the NBA. The Lakers and the Miami Heat both took 3-1 leads in their respective series, meaning the New York Knicks and Golden State Warriors are both going to have to try to keep their seasons alive. Let's talk about the Laker game first, because I don't really want to talk about that Knicks Heat game because, once again, it was abysmal from the Knicks. But let's talk about the Lakers and the Warriors first and foremost. And we've got to break down what happened at the very end of the game. Steph Curry has two chances to give the Warriors the lead in the final 20 seconds, both of which miss. They give up some free throws to Lonnie Walker, who had a fantastic fourth quarter. He had 15 points. Talk about unexpected contributions.
What do you call it, Mo? What do you call it?
Unexpected contributions.
Hey, now you're talking.
15 fourth quarter points from the guy who was largely out of the rotation. He got some garbage time minutes in that blowout loss earlier in the series. And he impressed Darvin Ham. But then with the game on the line, Steph can't get his shot off. Draymond Green, with the team needing a three, decides to drive to the baseline and throw the ball away. And it ends up in a jump ball, and the jump ball goes up. It lands in the hands of Steph Curry, who falls to the floor and throws it out of bounds. BJ, tell me I'm crazy for thinking that the Golden State Warriors purposely want to go down 3-1 against LeBron James just to get revenge for 2016, because I cannot think of any other explanation for the defending champions, the most experienced squad, when we talk about a championship core, to be making such abysmal decisions at the end of the game. Tell me I'm crazy.
Well, I didn't think those were bad decisions. I thought those were very well played on the defensive end. And Anthony Davis, again, showed up big on the defensive end. And looking at the game, well, I don't know how many options the Warriors, who could they go to for offense other than Steph Curry? Right? The only thing they could do was either have Draymond set a screen for Steph Curry or Wiggins set a screen for Steph Curry. Those were the only two options. I didn't see any other options. So, Steph Curry was just worn out. They just wore him out. The guy had a triple-double. He played, close to 42 minutes?
42 minutes, yep.
Okay. I don't – what else could he do? Everything else was just a decoy. It wasn't like there was a third or fourth option. There was 1A, 1B.
It was either Steph scoring or Steph creating. He had 31 points with 14 assists.
The guy had 31. He had 14 assists.
Yep.
He was just worn out. And then on the other end, give the Lakers credit. They put him in every screen and roll situation, probably in the entire second half. They didn't even utilize AD, who had a big first half, and then they just attacked Steph Curry.
Well, in the first half, the Lakers were putting Anthony Davis in every screen and roll action to try and tire him out. So it's kind of a little see who can last the longest down the stretch. The Warriors, right? Klay Thompson, another awful game. 3 of 11, 9 points. Draymond Green, 8 points. You don't really look to him for scoring. Gary Payton, who started the game, scored 15. And credit to him.
What happened to him? What happened to him?
He threw up at the start of the game. He threw up. He had a mouthful of vomit, and he ran.
Is that true?
Or that's true. That's what the good people of the Hoop Genius Discord server have sent me. Someone's got a video explaining it. So shout out to people in the Discord if you want to join. The link's in the description.
He gets nervous or something before every game? Is that what happened?
I don't know. It could be food poisoning. I don't know. He ran back to the locker room and then he came back. In 23 minutes, he had 15 points though, right? And he stepped into the starting lineup in place of JaMychal Green. JaMychal Green offered nothing, 0 points across the board. DiVincenzo gave them 10. Jordan Poole gave them 0. I want to talk about this. Jordan Poole last season in the playoffs gave them 17 points a game. This season, he's taken less attempts, but his efficiency has dropped from 50% from the field to 35% from the field. It's astounding. He's now shooting 29% from three, where he was shooting 39% from three a season ago. He's still getting looks. He's still getting touches, but something isn't quite right with Jordan Poole. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's the fact that he's still on the team with the guy that punched him in the face and knocked him out in the preseason training. I don't know what it could be. I don't know how committed he is to seeing, that guy win another championship at this point. I'm not saying that Jordan Poole doesn't want to win. I'm just saying, how do we explain the drop-off of a guy that last season they could rely to be a secondary creator to give Stephen Curry a break from generating that individual offense to now being essentially a liability when he's on the court because he doesn't give you defense and he's putting up 0 points in this game. I think Lonnie Walker had 15 points in the fourth. That's more than Poole's had in the last couple games. So what's the deal with Jordan Poole? What's going on with him?
Well, I think he's in the scouting report. And that's the thing that's so remarkable about Steph Curry. And I'll use Steph Curry as an example, right? We look at Steph Curry and we always say, oh, man, what a great player, he's able to do. And you saw it tonight. I mean, the guy makes tough shots. And what's so amazing about watching these great players is that they are the primary defensive targets of the opposing team. It's not like you come into a game and you say, well, we're not worried about Steph Curry.
Mm-hmm. That's your whole game plan.
I think that's the whole. I mean, this guy scores basically versus the entire team. I mean, the whole team, they have a game plan versus him.
Mm-hmm.
Then when I look at Jordan Poole now, he's suddenly in the scouting report. And that's the one thing that changes from a bench player to a starter, from a starter to maybe, a fringe all-star or an all-star player. Suddenly now you have to start playing with consistency, and you have to play now when you are defended, right? And the teams are always trying to defend, always trying to figure out how to defend you. Once they find something that's successful in this league, it gets passed around the league. That's why you have to continuously work on your game. That's what, it's like a mystery to me. Like every year you got to add something new to your game. You got to add something because these coaches and these players, they're always experimenting, trying to figure out, okay, let me guard Steph this way, see what happens. And then Steph Curry will adjust and you go, well, I can't do that. And he'll continuously year after year, add something new to always be one step ahead of the defense. Well, watching Jordan Poole, he's clearly in the defensive scheme now.
Mm-hmm.
And, last year, he wasn't the guy you were like really, you weren't the guy you were really like targeting. But now,
I mean, last year everyone knew what he could do, though. Going into the playoffs, everyone knew what he could do.
No one was expecting him. He wasn't.
I mean, now, we're not watching him be double teamed. We're not watching them trap Jordan Poole.
I'll say this. Now you have, every playoffs, you have a matchup. Okay, it's clear to me Draymond Green's matchup is Anthony Davis.
It has to be.
It's clear to me that Schroeder's matchup and Vanderbilt's matchup is Steph Curry. It's clear to me the matchups that you have. You know your matchup. Okay, you're at the matchup. Okay, you're figuring it out. I think right now we have a major problem with him. And the problem is this. He's got to figure out how to add something new to his game that's going to allow him to adjust during the course of a game.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's what it is. I think there's no ifs, there's no ands, there's no buts about it. Either he's going to adjust or we're going to continuously, because now, Mo, look at us. We expect that from him.
Yeah.
That's the difference. Like last year, Mo, we were like, oh man, like this guy, Jordan Poole, he's not bad. He's pretty good. And he'll have another game. And then if he didn't have a game, you wouldn't say that. But then when he did have a game, you were like, oh, wow. Now, Mo, we're expecting him to play, because now when he has a moment like this, it's like, well, where's Jordan Poole? What's going on here? I thought he was. So he's clearly now, Mo, in the game plan. He's clearly taking on a larger responsibility with the team. He's clearly made an impression where people are like, he's in the scouting report and he hasn't responded, Mo. That's what it is. And now he's either going to meet that challenge or continuously have moments like this, because Mo, you can't have a game 4 like this and not show up.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, Mo, this is you're on the road, a must game, and he doesn't show up. I mean, that's just
to the point where he only got 10 minutes on the court because, he wasn't offering him anything. Moses Moody got a lot of minutes. It's also crazy, like, how the matchups decide stuff. Like, Kevon Looney was the reason why the Warriors won the last round, but he only gets 10 minutes tonight because of just the difference in style between the Kings and the Lakers. So it's interesting to me. I don't know who can step up in the next game. I think obviously being at home gives them an advantage, but for the Lakers, Anthony Davis had 23, LeBron had 27, Austin Reeves had 21. They did a great job on guarding D'Angelo Russell early in the game. I think that's one of the reasons why Gary Payton II was in the starting lineup, was to make sure D'Angelo Russell doesn't go off for another hot start like we saw in that game. So he only got 4 points. Dennis Schroeder only got 10. But you got 3 guys scoring over 20 points. Over on the Warriors, you only got 1 guy scoring 20 points. Now, Steph had 31. He was 3 of 14 from behind the arc. He could have had maybe 50 if some of those go down. Wasn't his night. But the Lakers found a nice rhythm playing at home. The question will be, can they repeat that on the road now? Because they're going to go into a hostile environment and have a chance to close out this series. And the Warriors are going to play with real desperation. But, looking at this game, they had Anthony Davis guarding Gary Payton to start the game. And they used Gary Payton as the screener and the roll man in a lot of pick and roll actions in order to just get Anthony Davis starting to be tired out. Do you think that's the strategy they're going to go with in the next one?
Well, I think you have to include Anthony Davis. Mo, you and I talked about the following. We have to get him away from the basket, okay? If he just rim protects, that's a problem. I don't think there's no answer. Literally, Mo, there's no answer for Anthony Davis, because Anthony Davis is the only player that can play vertical basketball in this series.
That's crazy to think about.
He can go over the top of them at any given time. If he's there, he will rim protect. And Mo, you know what's interesting about him is when he's engaged, okay, he can actually switch.
Yeah.
And do a fairly decent job of guarding,
Well, he held his own on that final 3-point attempt from Steph Curry.
Yeah, I mean, Mo, he's a fascinating player. Mo, he's a fascinating talent. When he's engaged, he has been engaged. There's no answer they have for him. Now, you can see that they were trying to get at LeBron. They were trying to do things with Draymond as the screener. Why Draymond? Because Draymond is the best screener. But they had to switch that up because they had to get Anthony Davis engaged, because Steph Curry can't drive to the basket if Anthony Davis isn't put in the screen. So, Mo, it's just the dilemma that they have, and they're trying to find another score. The reason Kevon Looney can't play is because you can't play Kevon Looney and Draymond Green.
Yeah.
Okay? Somebody's going to have to step up. JaMychal Green, I thought Gary Payton did a nice job when he was in there. But obviously, Mo, he's only, 6'3", 6'4"?
Yeah.
Tops. So he's a guard. So you could see why the Warriors were playing this fast. Now, give the Warriors credit. They had a 10-point lead, a 12-point lead. They posed some problems, but it wasn't enough to counter the size when Anthony Davis dominates. I mean, the size just wore him down. LeBron James just wore him down with his size. He was just running through guys at the end. Anthony Davis did the same. And then, of course, I mean, you can't say enough about Lonnie Walker. He was fantastic, made big plays, made big shots. And when you get those contributions, Mo, where you weren't expecting, because think about this, Mo, if Lonnie Walker doesn't have this game, I think the Warriors coast and win this game. Okay, so this is why I'm always looking in games for places where you say, "Oh man, he wasn't on the scouting report," because no one had Lonnie Walker. I thought Austin Reeves had a nice game too. He had a nice game.
He played 1 minute 15 seconds in the first round, and now he's had 36 points over the last 3 games. He didn't score at all until the fourth quarter tonight. The other thing I want to say is it's not just finding extra scorers who can create shots, who can create baskets for themselves. Like when you look at the Lakers, right? LeBron James that a stretch in this game, they put him at the point guard and he was running the offense. Austin Reeves in this game, he was running the offense. D'Angelo Russell, Dennis Schroeder, they can run the offense. Rui Hachimura can come in and create for himself. Anthony Davis, you can throw the ball down to him. He can create a basket for himself. That's the difference in the two rosters here. Draymond Green is not going to create offense for himself. He can run an offense and get guys looks, but if that dribble handoff action is not working, it's tough. Gary Payton's not creating for himself. Klay Thompson is largely a catch and shoot player. JaMychal Green, DiVincenzo, Moody, they all rely on Steph creating plays for them. Wiggins, you would expect a little bit more from him. We're talking about a guy who was an all-star last year. We're talking about a guy who did such a great job in the NBA Finals. He gave them 17 points, but the Warriors just don't have versatility in their offense to the point of which the Lakers do, which I think is a big factor in this, because it looked like the Warriors were making a big run throughout the second half of this game. And each time the Lakers would switch something up and chip back away at the lead. Okay, LeBron, here's the ball. You go to work. Okay, Austin Reeves, you give us something. You know what I'm saying? So I think that is not just shot making. It's offensive creation and playmaking as well, being an underrated factor in the versatility of how you can structure your roster.
I mean, great job. I mean, what more can you say about the Lakers? I mean, very rarely Mo do trades and putting together a team midseason workout. Well, you can't say that about the Lakers.
Yeah, they need to send Danny Ainge a championship ring if they pull this one off.
Yeah, I mean, Mo, you got to give them credit. And defensively, Mo, is where they can hang their hat now. I mean, I'm convinced now, Mo, after watching them now in the second round versus a very good offensive team like the Golden State Warriors, that this is a really good defensive team. They have the elements now. They have a shot blocker. They have enough wings that can defend. They can switch now with LeBron at the 4. They can take the ball out of LeBron's hands, some with, with D'Lo and Schroeder and Reeves and these guys. They have guys who just really get after you on the defensive, like Vanderbilt. They have a lot of nice pieces, Mo, right? A lot of nice complementary pieces that complement their best players. Mm-hmm. So, you got to give the front office credit. You got to give those guys credit. You got to give Rob Pelinka and this guy's credit. They did a really nice job.
Especially LeBron James, because if you look at that final play from the Warriors in which Draymond turned the ball over, right? The Warriors are trying to run what's called a hammer action. And that's where you're looking to get a shooter open on the weak side while the defense is focused on the strong side. And LeBron James literally directed each and every Lakers defender on where to switch and who to guard to blow up the entire action that the Warriors were trying to run to get themselves a look. So just having someone with that kind of defensive IQ on the court as well, even with guys who aren't the greatest defenders in the league, is insanely valuable. So credit to the Lakers, up 3-1. Expect them now to go through to the next round. I don't know if many people predicted this before, but here they are. Here they are. And the other game that we had tonight, the Knicks and the Heat. I don't really have a lot to say about this one, mainly because I listened to a post-game interview with Julius Randle, and someone asked him, why have the Heat been crushing you on the offensive glass? Because that was a big part in why you guys beat the Knicks, right? And we spoke about it here on this podcast. You talked to me about the physicality of, Julius Randle, Mitchell Robinson, all these guys being able to come up against Cleveland's front round. Obviously, Miami were up to an advantage of 8 offensive rebounds more than the was it by 8 through this series? Anyway, they've crushed them on the glass, right? And they asked Julius Randle about it after the game. And he said, maybe they want it more. I don't know. This is the NBA playoffs. This is the second round. You win this, Milwaukee out. You're going into the next round against Boston or Philly, neither of whom have looked great throughout their series. You've got a chance to potentially make the NBA Finals. How are you going to sit there and say maybe the other team wants it more? What more incentive do you need to go and get a damn rebound? To go out and play hard? I just think it's very disappointing for Knicks fans to have to, sit and watch this. It was interesting in this one. Tom Thibodeau made some adjustments. He had Quentin Grimes starting instead of Josh Hart, and Emmanuel Quickley was out injured. So they gave some minutes to Miles McBride early. But like I said, the Heat outworked them. And that response from Julius Randle told me everything I need to know about this team right now. I don't know what their deal is, but they ain't in it. What's your takeaways from this game?
We got problems in New York. I don't know what it is, Mo, but I can look at the team and I can look at a team and say there's internal problems. Now, I don't know what the problem is, Mo. I'm not there, but there's something going on. Okay. You know, Mo, when you look at the teams and you look at the depth of the Knicks and you look at the depth of the Miami Heat, okay, there's no way that this team is supposed to be outplaying the Knicks. That's just unacceptable. There's no way. You say, okay, well, make some adjustments. He put Grimes in the starting lineup. Okay. But what's the adjustment? Like, okay, he put a guy in the starting lineup. Okay, but what's the adjustment in the game that's going to help your players? It's all, Mo, we just sat here and talked about the matchups. What's the matchups that we're looking for that we can exploit? Okay. What we know that the Miami Heat are going to do, they're going to pack the lane versus two guys, Julius Randle and Jalen Brunson. Therefore, what are we going to do to create space for them so that they can operate? Bo, you can't tell me that Jalen Brunson and Gabe Vincent, that should be an advantage. Okay. I mean, Mo,
I'm watching Duncan Robinson and Haywood Highsmith get minutes in the playoffs against this team.
Let's stop playing around here. Okay. We got to figure out a matchup here where we can exploit. Okay. You know what? You know what's bothering me now, Mo, watching this game? Okay. Because I had the Knicks to win this.
I know.
So I'm a little upset, but I got to tell it like it is, like when you see it. Why is Gabe Vincent picking up Jalen Brunson full court? They only have about 7 healthy bodies.
Well, I mean, they went 10 deep in their rotations tonight. They're playing guys, like I just said, Duncan Robinson, Haywood Highsmith. Okay, if you told me that these guys would be getting minutes in the Eastern Conference semifinal 3 months ago, I would never have believed you.
Okay, that's fine. Okay, but when I look at the Knicks bench, they have 2 guys I know can play and perform and contribute.
Yeah, we've said this like Evan 3 times Fournier, now. Someone needs to send this podcast to Tom Thibodeau.
Yeah, I don't know. No, just keep it amongst us. Evan Fournier can contribute. And you can't, no one can tell me that Derrick Rose can't play against. And they're the 2 most experienced players on the roster. Kyle Lowry. That's what I'm saying. Like, Mo, okay, everybody's got to have a matchup. What's your matchup? Let's figure out the matchups here and say, okay, this is your guy. You have to play against your guy.
And if anything, we just talked about Lonnie Walker not being in the scouting report. I know Evan Fournier and Derrick Rose are not in the scouting report the Miami Heat have got because they know that Tom Thibodeau is not going to play them. Roll the dice.
And then Lonnie Walker, that's what I'm saying. Like, I mean, Mo, it's just, it doesn't, like, when you get to this level, these guys are so good. These coaches are so good. They're incredible. They put together these game plans, and it's really amazing. It really is amazing, okay? But, I mean, I got to have a matchup. I got to win that matchup with Kevin Love. Like, Mitchell Robinson, you got to win that matchup. Okay, Bam, Julius, you got to cancel that matchup out.
Well, they'd be guarding Julius with Jimmy Butler.
This is what I'm saying. You got to win that matchup. You got to match up. You got to win that. I mean, Gabe Vincent, Jalen Brunson, you got to win that matchup. Okay, Jimmy, we got to contain him. All right, we keep Jimmy under 30, under 50%. That's a bonus. Now, we got to keep him between. They got 2 guys that should be able to wear him down a little bit. You would think, okay, Hart and Grimes. Okay, you would think, right? You would think, but we gotta get these matchups here, Mo. We can't just keep going 40 minutes for Grimes, 45 minutes for Brunson, 40 minutes for Randall, 35, 40 minutes for RJ, and then we're not even competing in the matchup. Right, we're not going, 20 minutes for Hart. Like, we got got to figure this out here because you know what? Match, this kid Strus, 16-6, Mo. Mo, Kyle Lowry again, 15, 5, and 4 off the bench in 25 minutes. And
some great defense.
You talk about productivity. Okay, this kid, Martin, Caleb, I think, is that Caleb?
Caleb, yeah. Martin.
Yeah, Caleb. He's got double figure. He's dunking. Mo, come on. Mo, I don't understand now what the plan is because, Mo, we can all talk about what we're doing, but when I look at the Knicks, I'm going Mo, I expect the Knicks to wear this team down. I expect them to wear them down, especially on the front line.
Mm-hmm.
Mo, they have Bam Adebayo, Kevin Love, okay, and Cody Zeller. Come on, Mo. Nothing against.
We say
Bam is an all-star.
Respectfully.
Yeah, I've been, but I would think Julius Randle, and Mitchell Robinson and these guys. Come on, Obi Toppin. Come on, Mo. Mo, come on. Come on. I would think if you said, okay, let's look at the matchups. Okay, you would say check Knicks. Right now, Cody Zeller is he's taking up the lane. You're what is going on here?
And
what is happening here?
It's you've just taken out former All-Star, young star in Jarrett Allen, one of the best young players in Evan Mobley. What happened? Why can't you still play like you did in the first round? I guess depending on matchups and stuff, but the energy and the intensity is just not there that it was in the first round.
Well, no, it's there. It's there.
I don't see it.
It's there. Well, of course you don't see it because the other team is matching the aggression. See, the Cleveland Cavaliers didn't match the aggression of the New York Knicks. A fight is not a fight until the other guy hits back. Okay. Okay. The Knicks were clearly the bullies in the first round.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Now Cody Zeller is fighting back, and all of a sudden, now the bully has got to make a decision. Are you going to fight or are you just going to bully the guys? Because let me tell you something. I know this about the Knicks, and I said it at the beginning of the series. This is going to be a very physical. Series.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now you're going to win because of execution, but let me tell you this: you're not going to push Jimmy Butler around. You're not going to push Bam Adebayo around. And let me tell you, if the game gets out of hand, my man Udonis Haslem will definitely suit up. He's got 6 good fouls, so I'm not worried about anything getting out of hand. Okay, that's truthful. That's just telling it like it is. Udonis Haslem has 6 good fouls, and it doesn't matter if he gets thrown out if the game gets out of hand. So I'm not worried if I'm the Miami Heat with the other 29 teams talking about we're going to get physical here.
Yeah.
Udonis Haslem has a role, and his role is don't let him come in the game for any reason. That means something is about to pop off.
Mm-hmm.
So you say, well, you don't see what's happening. No, Udonis is sitting there. Udonis is sitting there. That's real talk. Mo, that's real talk. Now, you got to match the intensity of what the other guy brings. If the other guy starts pressing you full court, Mo, guess what you got to do? You got to pick him up full court. If he wants to play a physical brand of basketball, you got to play a physical brand of basketball because the referee is always going to favor the most aggressive player. That's just what it is. That's what it is. And right now, the Knicks are bringing it. I mean, not the Knicks. The Heat are bringing it.
Yeah,
they're just bringing it. And now I don't know what's going on in that locker room, but let me tell you something, Mo. It didn't look right to me today. It didn't look right to me. And it's going to be interesting to see the response because, Mo, you can't tell me after a hard-fought game that you say, well, maybe they wanted it more than me. That lets me know, Mo,
ridiculous.
That's something more is going on. I've been around enough now to read in between the lines. So let's watch that one closely because I have a I got a feeling, Mo, there's more to it than what we're thinking right now. I think we're going to be talking about this for a day or two.
Ooh, well, let's talk about tonight's matchups. Both series tied at 2 games apiece. We'll start out in the West, Denver and Phoenix. Going back to Denver, you got to roll with a home team on this one, surely.
Well, I was thinking about this game today, and I was like, I know Mo's going to ask me about this game. It was so much, Mo, that I had to make a couple calls. So this isn't just me. I had to make a couple calls. So it's not. This isn't my opinion, but I had to make a couple calls. It doesn't matter who I made them to, but I made a couple calls to, people that I respect, and say, what do you think? They say, BJ's been interesting. This isn't my opinion, but I agree with it. I was made a couple calls because I was like, man, this is interesting that they lose Chris Paul, and then they win a couple games, and then suddenly this kid Devin Booker is like, wow. Kevin Durant is like, wow. They're playing a different brand of basketball. Wow.
Bench
and they
contributions.
Get a couple wins. Yeah. They're getting guys now. It's clear that now that people feel like, okay, I know my role. I mean, Mo, when they catch the ball, you shoot it because we know our role. We're playing a different, they play a little different, and they may have stumbled on something. So I'm going to say this. When the Boston Celtics have had to face this now a couple of times in the playoffs. A guy being out. For instance, in the first round against Atlanta, it was the kid,
DeJounte Murray when he was suspended.
DeJounte Murray was out, and then Atlanta wins.
Mm-hmm.
Joel Embiid was out. Philly wins.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Now, I think, Mo, when a guy is out of the lineup, it changes everything. Because you don't really know. It's like a free look. I mean, I remember I told you that. I was like, Doc Rivers, one of my favorite guys. Everyone knows that now.
Mm-hmm.
You got a free game. You got a free game to experiment.
Even when Draymond was out for the Warriors in the first round.
Draymond was, exactly. It's another one. Draymond was out. You don't know what to expect now. Now you're like, they're a totally different team now, right? Because you don't know who's going to come in, who's going to fill in, who he's going to start. I don't know, game time decision. So there's really no preparation, right? There's no, the coach who has that as his scout now, he can't tell you play calls because they're different. It's a different brand of basketball. And Mo, that's what I think happened there for those 2 games. We didn't know what to expect. Devin Booker, he turned it up a notch.
Yep. And his playmaking. It's not just his scoring, which is insanely efficient right now. His playmaking is on a whole different level right now.
I mean, Mo, I knew he could pass a little bit, but I didn't know he could pass like this. I didn't know they could play this fast like this. They put guys now in different roles in different situations, and you can see the Nuggets weren't even rotating to certain guys. Landry Shamet was open for a reason because, this is the first time they've actually seen it.
You've only got 5 defenders. You're going to send 2 at Booker. You're going to send 2 at Durant. You've only got 1 guy left to cover 3 players.
That's what I'm saying. So now they've had 2 games now, and they can look at 2 games worth of film. They got 8 quarters now to look at. It's here's what we're going to do. So I think now that they will make the proper adjustments in game 5.
Yeah.
Now, on the other hand, the Phoenix Suns, they're feeling good right now. They're like, this is what we do.
Mm-hmm.
And Mo, I don't know who's going to impose their will on the game because, again, we just saw one of those contributions. And then, Mo, a guy gets going that we didn't think about.
Well, Ernie Johnson said, in the post-game show, he goes, Lonnie Walker with the best fourth quarter we've seen from a role player since last night when it was Landry Shamet.
Right.
You don't know who can step up. And at the same time, we're waiting for one of those unexpected contributions from the Denver Nuggets as well. There might be a Jeff Green quarter. You never know.
There might be.
My Uncle Jeff. Bruce Brown might get hot. It works on both sides, though.
Absolutely. That's what I'm saying. Listen, Mo, let's not forget this. The big fella had 53 in the last game? Okay, big fella had 53.
First
so
center
clearly
to do that.
They figured out something with him. Yeah, they figured out something out with him. They're probably going to play better. The role players are going to play better at home. And now they have an idea of what they have to do. Right? Mo, it's hard to play against a team when you don't have any inkling whatsoever what's going to happen because you don't have any game film or anything to go on. You're just going to say, well, I know KD is good, but I don't know how they're going to use him now because of Chris Paul's out. So we'll see what happens. I think it will be a good game. I think the first 5 or 6 plays on both sides will be interesting because you're going to see immediately the Phoenix Suns are going to want to attack them immediately.
I don't know if they're going to be able to keep that pace though, because now the series shifts back to Denver with 1 day resting. Like they played 2 days ago, fly to Denver, and now you got the game. I don't know how much pace you're going to be able to push if you're the Phoenix Suns.
Well, I don't think they have a choice, but I agree with you. I think it is something to look out for. However, what I am interested is how Phoenix is going to attack them on the road. Like, I want to see their play calls, like the first 5 or 7 minutes of the game, just to see what they think they can do. And then I want to see the defensive scheme of what they're going to do now, because they know Landry Shamet, hopefully Terrence Ross and these guys play. TJ Warren's going to play. Londale now seems to be, they've settled in with him after 2 games. So we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fascinating. I mean, look, it's only 3 games to go.
The other thing that fascinates me is, when's Devin Booker going to have a bad game? Or are we just going to put Devin Booker down for 35 plus points every game that he plays in this postseason? At some point, surely he has to have an off shooting. He's shooting, 68% from the field in the playoffs.
Well, you know what, Mo? You know what? When you get in the zone, you just get in the zone. You know what I mean, Mo? As a player, all of us, our listeners, you got to flow. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's in a good rhythm right now. He's just in a good rhythm, okay? And you know what I love about him is he's ultra aggressive right now.
Yeah.
He's playing I don't have anything to lose. Now, when you're playing against a guy who's not thinking, it's always a problem. That's what I'm saying. That's why I always use the term disruptive. I have to disrupt your flow.
Yeah.
You're going to have to shoot. At this point, Mo, I mean, I don't know when Coach Malone is going to, succumb to this. You got to get a guy a different look now.
Yep.
Mo, he's had 4 games now where he's this, I'm the better player. Okay. And sometimes you'll catch a guy in a good flow, Mo, and there's nothing you can do. So I would think that you got to do something against him. But what if that allows KD to get in the flow?
KD's still putting up 30 plus, and we just don't talk about it.
Yeah. I mean, KD is quietly doing 38, 39, and we're not even talking about it. So, I as I watch Devin Booker, it's very obvious to me why he's in such a good flow. You know what it kind of reminds me of? Remember when Shaq first went to Miami?
Yeah.
Teams had to double team Shaq. You still had to double team the big fella. Mm-hmm. And when the ball got to Dwayne Wade on the weak side,
he's eating.
Dwayne Wade was too good of a player to just play one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what it reminds me of Devin Booker. Devin Booker is too good of a player to play one-on-one. You know what I mean? KD, you could tell, they want to make sure that they contain him. Contain him means he just doesn't get 50.
Yeah.
He gets 35 to 40. You're okay, we did a good job here. Yeah, you'll live with it.
The games have been close. Don't get me wrong.
But Devin Booker, Mo, now I think Devin Booker is going to demand a double team. I think he got a double team.
Yeah. Or you got to start picking him up full court. You got to be physical with him. You got to try to throw him off his rhythm. I don't know how they're going to do it. The question I have, though, is in the other matchup, the Celtics versus the Sixers. Ooh. Which version of James Harden are we going to see? Are we going to see game 1 and game 4 Harden, or are we going to see game 2 and game 3 Harden?
Well, you know what I really respect about this series, Mo?
Yes.
Is I was listening to Doc, now my new thing now, just to, to entertain myself, is I listen to the coaches. Just to see if you and I are in the ballpark. You know, if we're even, we're talking here, but just to see if, Doc Rivers said, hey, I got to get one or both of those guys going during the course of the game, Maxey or Harden. I was like, he's listening to the podcast.
Hey, shout out to
Doc. Shout out to Doc. And Doc now is committed to what we've been saying literally all year. I
even last year.
You got to get Maxey. Maxey has to play. What's this guy's? This guy is one of the fastest guys in the league.
I think he might be. Like, it's him, Fox, Ja, and everyone else is after that.
Okay. So Maxey either has to contribute or Harden has to contribute, and then Joel just has to fill in. That's the formula.
Just stay there and let Joel carry home in the fourth unless Al Horford is
there you go. That's it. So if one of those guys, he just needs one of them. Mo, if one of them gets going, now it balances the rest of the players out. But if Maxey or Harden doesn't figure out how to contribute to the game, now Joel has to carry for 48 minutes. And I don't think that's a good recipe because the game just slows down. If Maxey or Harden gets going in full court and play, now you got a problem. So I think let's see the tempo of the game. The Sixers are going to have to play fast, even though they're on the road. And I think the home team wants to play fast, your Celtics, because they're at home, get the crowd excited, get up threes, blah, 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 do things, so forth and so on. So, yeah. Well, I'm going to look for Maxey or Harden early in the game. Maybe there's a Tobias Harris is always sitting there.
He's got to have a 25 piece at some point.
Yeah. So, and then JoJo just, bring it home. So let's see what Harden and these guys are going to do. I think we know the formula. Harden and what's the name has to get going. And your Celtics just can't get down big. If your Celtics get down big, then I think they're going to have
I don't know. Like, even though they were down in the last game, double digits, Jason Tatum had the worst half he's had all season long, and they were still had 2 chances to win the game. I think after that, you don't feel too bad about it. You just got to make sure you can get your guys in their rhythm early. Being at home is going to help with that. And, I want to see how Embiid responds as well, because it looks like Al Horford got in his head a little bit at the end of that game. Him deferring down the stretch. That's an interesting matchup because we know Al Horford's had his number for years. Philly even gave him a massive contract to stop him beating the Sixers in the playoffs. And if Al Horford does what he did in the fourth quarter,
I'm going to see. I listen. Do I think Al Horford is one of the few players left in the NBA who can play post defense? Yes. Without question. Yes.
Mm-hmm.
But Al has a great support staff behind him. That's what allows him to play the way he plays. He's got a great support staff. I mean, they do a nice job of walling up. And you got to remember this. JoJo isn't passing to just catch and shoot guys. Right? You know what I mean? He's like, PJ Tucker has to play. Why? Because he's one of the best defenders on the perimeter. But he's not like the guy you're looking to when they double JoJo from the baseline. You know what I mean? So, listen, I want to give Al credit. Al did a nice job. Don't get me wrong. However, there's counters that can be made. Okay. Mm-hmm. And I don't want to put that type of pressure on Big Al to say, you got him with no help. Because let me tell you something. I've played against some great interior players. There's no stopping Akeem. There's no stopping Pat Ewing, Shaq, and those guys. But if you can wall them up, Mo, and make them hesitate because think about this. Grant Williams guards him. Rob Williams guards him. Marcus Smart guards him. Al Horford guards him. And they all guard him different.
Yeah.
Mo, that's the one thing I keep saying again. You have to show these players different looks so they won't get a flow. I just think Joel can never settle into the game because Marcus Smart plays at his knees. Grant Williams puts his chest on him and just fouls the guy. Rod Williams tries to block his shot. And then Al Horford is a different combination, which, you know what I mean? Like, I think he thinks he's faster than Al, but he doesn't know if he's faster than Al.
Al Horford is the old guy at the pickup game who is just, you don't expect him to do anything, and somehow he just wins. You know,
and you know, I'm gonna tell you what Al does. I'm gonna tell you what Al does against him. This is a secret. I hope JoJo's not listening.
I'm gonna edit it out just in case.
No, edit it out. Al has the discipline not to foul him. You know, all those creative moves that JoJo does. He goes up under, it gets fouled, flops, gets his body close by because he knows guys that are not disciplined. Al is just disciplined enough to not foul him. If you ever watch Al when he plays against him, watch Al's hands.
His hands are always up.
Reaches,
up.
Yeah, see?
That's why he got a couple blocks on him. That's why he got a couple blocks on him at the end of that game.
Yeah, his hands are always up. He never goes for a fake, and he just plays vertical defense. So as Steve Kerr always likes to say, doing an interview, we have to play defense without fouling. Al does that as well as anybody. That's what he does.
Yeah.
And JoJo, what does JoJo do?
Flop.
He flops and he gets to the line 20 times if you let him. If you don't have any discipline, he'll get you in foul trouble all the time. So hopefully he's not listening for, you know, the Celtics. We don't want to give away any.
Well, I mean, even if he is listening, there ain't much you can do if the guy's not going to fall for your flops and your tricks and your foul baiting. So good luck. We'll see. We'll see tonight, BJ. We'll see. That's it. The Hoop Genius podcast. We'll be back tomorrow with more, breaking down those games we just discussed. And we've got a lot more in store. So stay locked in. Make sure you subscribe to the show. Because then, not tonight, but tomorrow night, the Lakers and the Heat both have the chance to close out their series. So we're going to have a lot to discuss. Make sure you don't miss an episode. Stay locked in with us. Subscribe, tell your friends, and most importantly, get buckets.